Are you ready for professional, stat-driven sports coverage? You are in the right place as you are listening to the 4 Star Sports Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Have you ever seen a sports show with speed? We present Conference Crunch, the cross-country trip across 7 college conferences in 30 minutes. The show that never slows down is finally here. Now, let's get it started with your host, Wes Pruitt.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Welcome into a special spooky edition of Conference Crunch. I'm your host, Wes Pruitt, or for those of you watching, I'm dressed as Mario. I get into the Halloween spirit every year. If you followed us here at 4 Star Sports Media, you have seen me dressed up before. It's something we do here. It's something that we will continue to do here. Don't care if you laugh or not. I do not care. I'm going to continue to do this year in, year out. Welcome in to Conference Crunch, the show where sports meets speed, and we are breaking down a spooky Week 10 in college football as it's full of frights, full of scares. It's got some tricks. There's some treats. There's some sweets. And there's some gridiron gruels that await. We're 3 days from Halloween. We're going to slash this weekend's upcoming bloodbath. We're going to break some rigor on some Week 10 zombies. And we're going to banish some mad fans as we get into some playoff dreams, as we got college football playoff right around the corner, as the selection committee will put out their first list of rankings next Tuesday night. We'll be live right here on 4 Star Sports Media on Conference Crunch to break down these rankings after they put them out. We will also be on the call on Tuesday night following the announcements. So after the call takes place, post-call, then we will get on there, or we will get on here, and we will discuss everything that took place. Speaking of college football playoff, let's start with what's on tap, presented to you by Athletic Brewing Company. Athletic zero alcohol IPAs that hit like witches brew. There's no hangover hex at all. Head over to athleticbrewing.com/4Star Sports for more information as they present what's on tap, which is a rundown of the show. We're going to start with hot topics. After that, we'll jump on a plane and take our Southwest Airlines flight across conferences as we tackle 7 conferences in just a little under 30 minutes. After that, we'll have a little upset alert as we take a look at some teams who may be on upset alert. After that, we take a look at the sport box company stock market. Who's up, who's down? We're going to take a look. We're going to take a look at a Fanatics overreaction of the week. We also got a CBD for life woosah as we bring the show down towards the end. And then at the end, we've got a SeatGeek ticket of the future, which is a kind of a new segment that we're going to do here, where we look at a ticket that we want to purchase, or a game we have in the future, not this week, not maybe next week, maybe the week after, but it's a SeatGeek ticket of the future. So we're going to go through SeatGeek, but use SeatGeek, you can purchase tickets to these games. Along the way, we're also going to have some questions, some things we want you to get on Twitter. We're live right now on Twitter. We're live right now on X or YouTube as well. But we've got some questions that we are going to try to get some interaction from you guys tonight. Let's start with the CFP rankings. They drop next Tuesday night. It's going to drop like a guillotine. When you look at projecting, now we really hadn't done a lot of this so far, but you look at projecting, and there's only 12 teams. The group of 6 only gets 1 in. You would think that the SEC is probably going to get at least 4 teams in. Then you're going to look at the Big Ten is going to get 4 teams in. That's 8 right there. That only leaves you 4 teams left, or 5 teams left. Then you got the one group of 5. But my question is, and we posed it earlier, there's 2 other Power 4 conferences. That's the Big 12 and the ACC. The question is, and it's a question we posed earlier, we're going to pose it tonight, hashtag Conference Crunch, spooky, hashtag Conference Crunch, spooky on X and Facebook, wherever you do hashtags. But our question is, right now in the current state of college football, when you look at projections, things of that nature, which conference has a better chance of getting 2 teams into the CFP, the Big 12 or the ACC? I believe, based on research, projecting things of that nature, you look at both of these conferences, I think right now the ACC may have a better chance than the Big 12. While both have chances to get 2 teams in. But then here's the other question. If both the ACC and Big 12 get 2 teams in, then who is left out? That's where I believe you're going to see a lot of the 9-3 SEC and Big 10 teams, which we've all been saying all year long. Oh, yeah, you're going to see some 9-3 SEC, Big 10 just because of how dominant those conferences are. But the ACC and the Big 12 has a chance to close a coffin on the SEC and the Big 10. Speaking of the college football playoff, I think the Dracula of the entire deal is Notre Dame. Now, they've got Navy left on their schedule. They've got USC left on their schedule. Navy right now is undefeated out of the American, and we're going to talk about the American in a minute. But if Notre Dame continues to win and they win out, it's a 2-loss team. One loss has come to the number 2 team in the country right now, Texas A&M, and then Miami. Both close losses, by the way. It's going to be very interesting to watch. And the first initial rankings are going to should tell us a lot about strength of schedule, also strength of record. That's something you got to pay attention to. Very, very, very intriguing CFP, and it all kicks off next Tuesday night as the committee releases their first rankings of the year. All right, let's jump on a quick Southwest Airlines jet and take a flight across the conferences. Southwest Airlines, fare-free flights, no fees, free bags to every haunted stadium you want to go to. Who's flying high? We are. Southwest Airlines. SouthwestAirlines.com/4-star sports. Let's start with the ACC. As we take a look at the upcoming week, you've got number 10, starting Friday night, Halloween night. You've got North Carolina coming in at 2-5, heading to Syracuse, take on the Orange at 3-5. Currently, Syracuse is a 2.5-point favorite. Over/under on that game is 49.5. It's the only game Friday night for the ACC. Then Saturday, it all cranks up 11 a.m. ESPN. Miami, number 10 in the country, 6-1. Talked about them just a moment ago. Taking on SMU. SMU 5-3, just came off a bad loss to Wake Forest. How will Rhett Lashley, his name's being mentioned for potential jobs across the country? How will he get his team right? It's going to be very Intriguing game to watch. Miami is a 12.5-point favorite. Over under that game is 50.5. I talked about the ACC and how they have chances to get numerous teams in. You look at Georgia Tech right now, they're undefeated. You look at Virginia right now, they're undefeated in conference play. Yes, I understand NC State beat Virginia early in the year, but guess what? That doesn't count as a conference game. That makes sense, right? Because they're both in the ACC. Anyway, long story, very long story. Duke, the Fighting Manny Diaz, they have a chance, an outside chance, but they have a chance. Right now, they're heading to Clemson this week, 3-4. When's the last time we've said Clemson was 3-4? 11 a.m. ACC Network, 2.5-point favorite is Clemson. That's basically just because they're at home, folks. 55.5 for the over and under. The CW, 2 o'clock, number 16, Louisville, 6-1 this team. Tony Siracusa told us preseason to keep an eye on the Louisville Cardinals, and this has been really, really fun to watch so far. They're heading to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. Tech comes in 3-5. Rumors flying around potentially James Franklin could be the next guy at Virginia Tech. Who knows? Louisville's only a 9.5-point favorite for Louisville, though. Game to watch. Game to watch. Keep in mind, we're doing upset alert before we close the show. Up next, this game might get ugly, folks. Number 12, Notre Dame. Just talked about them. 2-loss team right now, 5-2. Number 12 in the country. Keep in mind where is Notre Dame ranked. It's very key in this whole Notre Dame Dracula take a bite of the college football playoff. They're 5-2 right now. Number 12 in the country. They head to Boston College. Boston College 1-7. I think Bill O'Brien could be the next little tombstone that you see on the screen if you're watching it. Could very well be. Who is next? As you see that question on the screen. Another team to watch in the ACC, the Pitt Panthers, 6-2 right now, playing really good football. Got to travel across country, though. They got to take on Stanford, 3-5. Pitt's a 14.5-point favorite in this game. 51.5 is the over-under. Talked about Virginia being undefeated in conference play. They're 7-1 overall. Their only loss came to NC State. They have to travel cross country and take on Cal, the Fighting Cal Bears, 5-3 on the year, 2:45 p.m. Virginia's a 4.5-point favorite. You look at Brent Key, Georgia Tech, Haynes King, potentially going to be in New York for a Heisman, which that would be the first time that's happened since, I believe, 2006, which is almost 20 years ago. But number 8, Georgia Tech, 8-0 on the year. This game, you may hear about it here shortly. But Georgia Tech traveling to NC State, tough place to play, night game. Dave Dorn has a knack for peeing in somebody's cornflakes somewhere along the season. Could it be this week? 6:30 ESPN2, Georgia Tech's 5.5-point favorite. Over under that game is 57.5. And then the nightcap in the ACC, Wake Forest, Jake Dickert did an amazing job out there. We talked to Tony. We kind of had an idea that this could happen just because of a lot of the lax rules that were in place for the previous regime, and they generally will go away with a new one. But they head down to Tallahassee to take on Mike Norvell and the Florida State Seminoles. Seminoles come in 3-4 in the year. This game's on ACC Network. Starts at 6:30 p.m. Florida State is a 9.5-point favorite. I think the wrong team's favorite here, by the way. Florida State's a 9.5-point favorite. 50.5 is the over/under. Welcome anybody watching. You're watching Conference Crunch. It's a spooky edition as we're right around Halloween. For those of you that know me, I'm going to dress up for Halloween every year. It's just what I do. All right, let's jump over to the Big 12 real quick. Intriguing matchup. All right, let's start with Houston. Number 22, 7-1 on the year. Willie Fritz has done an incredible job with the Cougars this year. Really built this team up a lot through the portal. But in addition to that, he brought guys in, got them to believe. They stuck around for year 2, and you're seeing it all start to come to fruition for Houston as they Welcome in West Virginia. Rich Rodriguez struggling in his first year back in at West Virginia, but 2-6 on the year for the Mountaineers, 7-1, as I said, for the Cougars. 11 a.m. FS1 is where you can watch it. Cougars are 13.5 point favorite, over under 49.5. This next game really could tell us a lot about where Baylor is as a football program. They host Central Florida. Central Florida comes in 4-3. Scott Frost, second edition 2.0, down in Orlando for the Knights. 11 a.m. kickoff, ESPNU. Baylor comes in 3.5 point favorite. They're 4-4 on the year. We've been talking about hot seats all season. That name has continuously come up, and that is Dave Aranda. Name has continuously come out of our mouths. It's working, but it's not working, if that makes any sense. Like, yes, he's making bowl games, but when you look at Baylor, they have bigger aspirations than what he has been able to bring them in his time in Waco. But 11 a.m., 4-4, Baylor's 3.5 point favorite in that game. Battle of 5 and 3s up next is Arizona State travels to Iowa State to take on the Cyclones. Noon kickoff, TNT and HBO Max for that. 7.5 point favorite are the Cyclones, and 48.5 is the over-under. Number 13, Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, 7-1, traveling to Little Manhattan. 4-4, it's Kansas State, really a team that's battled back. If you pay attention to them this year, Chris Climate, the guy's done an incredible job. He's got this team believing. Avery Johnson's a really good quarterback. We know what this team has. It's just we haven't really seen them been able to put it together as of late. But definitely probably could be an upset alert here. You'll hear that later. But Texas Tech got a tough road trip to Little Manhattan to battle the Wildcats, who are playing really good football right now. Texas Tech, 7.5 point favorite in that game. 52.5 is the over-under. Up next, you've got Oklahoma State, 1-7 right now on the year, traveling to Kansas. Kansas 4-4 on the year as Lance Leipold is continuing to maneuver the waters for the Jayhawks. Got a big win last week, by the way. But 3 p.m. ESPN Plus, 24.5 point favorite for Kansas. Interesting line there. Up next, you got Arizona, 4-3 on the season, FS1, 6 p.m. Heading to Boulder to take on the Colorado Buffaloes as they come in 3-5 on the year. Arizona's a 4.5 point favorite and 52.5. And this is where College Game Day is, and rightfully so. Number 17, Cincinnati, travels out to Utah to take on the Utes as 7-1. Cincinnati comes in 6-2 on the year is Utah. That game starts at 9:15, and that is on ESPN. I tell you, Scott Satterfield, if you look at how he runs his offense, they run the most plays per game. They're if not top, they're in the top 3 across the country for a reason. The more plays he runs, he thinks it has a higher capability, a higher probability of one breaking. So far, he's been right. All right, let's go to the Big Ten real quick. At the beginning of the year, when the rankings came out for preseason and everything, a lot of people had this game circled as a game to keep an eye on for how James Franklin would be able to maneuver the waters. If you're watching live right now, I have under me, this is a Halloween version of the show, so I have under me a bunch of tombstones. Those tombstones are in chronological order of how coaches have been fired from left to right. James Franklin's in there. So James Franklin didn't even make it to this game. This game's lost a lot of its luster that it may have originally had. But 3-4 Penn State traveling to number 1 Ohio State. Number 1 Ohio State's still number 1. They haven't lost, folks. They're the defending national champions. I understand we really haven't, maybe seen them be challenged per se, but they haven't lost, okay? You got to give them that. But 20.5 point favorite, big time line there. 20.5 point favorite for the Buckeyes, 44.5 in the over-under. Rutgers, 4-4, the Fighting Gracianos. 11 a.m. NBC has the coverage as they head to Illinois. As Illinois has a chance to become bowl eligible as they come into the game 5-3 on the year. 12.5 point favorite is the Fighting Illini. Interesting matchup here as Indiana has to go on the road to Maryland. 4-3 as the Terps come in. 2:30 CBS. Number 2 Indiana comes in 8-0 on the year. Some people have Kurt Signetti and the Hoosiers possibly even ranked number 1 in some polls. Up next, Big Ten Network, 2 p.m. 3-5 Michigan State travels to Minnesota as the Gophers look to row the boat and go bowling. As they're a 3.5 point favorite, 44.5 is the over-under in that one. Purdue 2-6 comes in 6 p.m. Big Ten Network as they take on number 21 Michigan as the Wolverines come in 6-2 on the year. 21.5 point favorite are the Wolverines. 49.5 is your over and under. Number 23 USC hits the road, got 2 time zones to fly across of, so we'll hear about this from Lincoln Riley, but they got to travel in, take on Matt Rule and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska's breaking out the black unis, which I love. Breaking out the black uniforms, 6:30 NBC. USC is only a 6.5 point favorite in this game, 58.5. Can Nebraska finally break the streak of top 25 games? Can they do it? This would be a massive win for Matt Rule. This would be a massive win for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And this would be a massive win for Lincoln Riley. I don't want to say that his seat becomes hot if they lose the game, but it's definitely warming up. By the way, jump back to the ACC real quick. Miami hits the road to SMU. That is Miami's first road game, or really first game. It's their first road environment outside of the state of Florida. So keep that in mind for that game. All right, let's jump over to the American real quick as we've got some Thursday night action. As we got Tulane heading down to UTSA to take on the Roadrunners. Roadrunners come in 3-4 on the year. 6:30 ESPN. Tulane's 5.5 point favorite. As the Green Wave come in 6-1 on the year. 53.5 is your over/under. Then Halloween night, Memphis goes down to Rice and hope it doesn't get spooky. As the Tigers head down top 25, number 25 in the country, 7-1 on the year. Tigers ESPN2, 6 p.m. heading down to Rice. Rice 4-4 on the year. This is a game that you can't overlook this. Memphis' back's against the wall, and then you look at the American. We talked to Randy Cross about it recently. He said, there's a jumble of teams right now in the American. Whoever comes out of it, he thinks is going to be the front runner and has an inside track to the college football playoff. 48.5 is your over-under between Memphis and Rice on Friday night. All right, Saturday, let's start with UAB. Is 3-4 on the year. 11 a.m. CBS Sports Network. They travel up to UConn, take on Jim Mora and the UConn Huskies as they come in 5-3. Mora's trying to get them back to a bowl. 12.5 point favorite are the Huskies. 63.5 is your over and under. And I love it, folks. It's Armed Forces football. Army, Air Force, Army travels across country. You look at the record-wise, this game might not have a lot of luster to it, but you're wrong because it does. 3-4, Army. Air Force comes in 2-5, 11 a.m. CBS Sports Network. Air Force, a 1.5 point favorite in the game. That's a pick 'em, folks. That's a pick 'em. 48.5 is your over/under. Big time ball game, and I think a game that a lot of people thought game day could potentially go to. But Navy, 7-0 on the year, unblemished, unbeaten, heads to North Texas, where Eric Morris and the Mean Green are unblemished when they lead after 3 quarters. 6.5 point favorite is Notre Dame. I'm sorry, North Texas. 65.5 is your over/under. That's going to be a very, very intriguing ball game. All right, let's head to Temple. As you know, you look around the country and you look at teams that have impressed. You look at teams that have improved. Temple is that. East Carolina 4-3, 5-3 is Temple. All right, let's jump to Conference USA real quick. As we had a game, well, a couple games. Well, we've got 2 games live right now, so we're actually going to do that one last. I do want to jump over to the SEC real quick because you've got a plethora of ball games. Mississippi State, Arkansas. State comes in 4-4. Arkansas 2-5 or 2-6 on the season. Arkansas is 4.5 point favorite of the game. 62.5 is the over/under. Vanderbilt heads down to Texas. Top number 9 Vanderbilt heads down to Texas. 7-1 are the Commodores. Number 20 are the Longhorns as they come in 6-2. Big time ball game right there. Now, you got the world's largest cocktail party this week. Georgia and Florida. Georgia number 5 in the country, 6-1 on the year. 2:30 ABC has the television. 3-4 are the Gators on the year. Lenore Sellers and the South Carolina Gamecocks head down to Oxford to take on Ole Miss as the top 10 Rebels. 7-1 on the year. 6 o'clock. ESPN is the kick. Possibly a CFP eliminator game between Oklahoma and Tennessee. Both teams come in 6-2. I talked earlier in the show about a 3-loss SEC team. I just don't know that we see that team get it, potentially based on what's happening across the nation, not necessarily what's happening just strictly in the conference. 6:30 ABC, big time game right there. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then Kentucky travels down to Auburn. Kentucky's really struggling. 2-5. Mark Stoops could very well be the next tombstone below us. 2-5. Head to Auburn. 4-4 on the season. Let's go to the Sun Belt real quick. As we look at a conference that a lot of people sleep on, a lot of people don't pay attention to. You saw James Madison get a big win last night, 52-20 over G.J. Kinney and Texas State. You look across the country and you look at coaches. You've seen me post it on my personal page. You've heard me mention it here on Conference Crunch. You hear all these names being tossed around, being thrown around on message boards everywhere. I'm telling you right now, a name that you need to pay attention to is Bob Chesney from James Madison. Some people out there have James Madison. There is some publications out there that have James Madison as the group of 5. That based on their schedule, you look at their schedule, look at how it lines up, you look across the country, you look at the jumble of teams in the American, you look at all their schedules. Navy's still got Notre Dame left on theirs. Memphis has still got Tulane. Memphis has still got Navy. There's hurdles. But you look at James Madison's, and albeit I don't have their schedule just directly in front of me, but you look at James Madison's schedule the rest of the way. They travel to Marshall. Marshall's 4-2, 4-3 on the year. App State comes to them. Washington State comes to them. And then they close with Coastal. Don't sleep on James Madison potentially jumping into college or stealing a college football playoff from someone down the season. But I'm telling you, Bob Chesney, he's a name to watch in this coaching carousel. He's a coach that has done a hell of a job. And yes, you can say, he just took over Kurt Signetti. Doesn't matter. You still have to come in. You still have to build. You still have to do everything that you need to do. I'm telling you, heck of a football coach right there, folks. Heck of a coach. All right, speaking of Coastal, 4-3 as Marshall comes to town. ESPN 2, 6:30 tomorrow night, Thursday night. Marshall's a 6.5 point favorite. Old Dominion 5-3 travels down to Louisiana Monroe. Monroe, really? I had a little bit more. Maybe my expectations were too high, I guess would be what you say. But I had a little more higher thoughts for this Monroe team than what we see so far. And they've still got a chance to make a bowl game. They got to essentially win out to do so. 3-5 right now in the season, 230 ESPN plus. Old Dominion comes in a 16.5 point favorite for the 5-3 Bulldogs. All right, Louisiana 2-6 on the year. Battle of 2-6 teams as Louisiana and South Alabama battle down in Mobile. 230 ESPN plus. The nightcap in the Sun Belt is Arkansas State, 4-4. They're pushing to get back into a bowl, going against a team that's in a bowl as Troy. After their second loss, they lost to Memphis, second game of the year. They have gone in an absolute tear. They're 6-2 in the year, 7 o'clock ESPNU. Big time ball game in the Sun Belt. All right, let's jump over to Conference USA. Let's start with last night. Really good football game last night down in Kennesaw, Georgia. If you see the final score, you may say, oh, it's 33-20. What the hell are you talking about, Wes? If you actually watch the game, if you actually listen to the game like I did, I listened to the game. I was working. But UTEP and Kennesaw State, it was 26-20 late in that football game before, honestly, UTEP had a bonehead penalty, cost them 15 yards, and it gave Kennesaw State the first down. Kennesaw continued to drive, ended up going down and scoring. It was the third down play. UTEP was getting ready to get the ball back. Now, albeit UTEP had at that point in time failed to score on 3 consecutive offensive possessions in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter. But like I said, late in the game, third down, it was technically a stop. But player for UTEP stepped over the player for Kennesaw State, got the flag, got the 15-yard automatic first D, and there we go. All right, we got some action going on right now in Conference USA. I want to get you updated real quick. One game is on CBS Sports Network. That's Florida International taking on Missouri State. As right now, Missouri State leads 7-0, 5:10 left to go in the first quarter as FIU has the ball and they're driving down on Missouri State's 34-yard line. Also, if you are a CUSA fan, which I enjoy CUSA, Jacksonville State on the road at MTSU. Right now, MTSU leads 6-0. Is the show pony? Is the show pony a good luck charm for the Blue Raiders? Because if so, and that's the case, if you're Derek Mason, you get him in there like a game day picker every week if you can, or do it virtually, whatever. But 6-0 right now, second quarter, 10:02 left to go in the second, as MTSU has the ball, 1st and 10. That game's on ESPN2, 6-0 right now, MTSU in the second. Friday night, we got some action. Sam Houston, 0-7 on the year. Their football coach could very well be the next one in our graveyard down here. But Sam Houston, 0-7 on the year. Louisiana Tech, 4-3. This game's on CBS Sports Network, 7 p.m. 16.5 point favorite. Louisiana Tech, the over-under in that game is 48.5. Then Saturday, just two games in Conference USA on Saturday, as this is the final week of weekday play. As you know, games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is the last week of that. After that, everybody is on Saturday or Friday. But Delaware, 4-3, heads down to Liberty. Liberty's 3-4 in the year. CBS Sports Network, 2:30, as Liberty is a 3.5 point favorite on the game. 52.5 is the over/under. New Mexico State travels 3-4, travels to Western Kentucky, take on the Hilltoppers. Hilltoppers come in 6-2 on the season as they are heading to a bowl. That's our Southwest Airlines flight across conferences as we cover 7 conferences roughly in 30 minutes. Look, when you book Southwest, you score a touchdown every single time, folks. You ever go to a haunted house and as you're walking through, you can just feel an energy around you and it just kind of lurks. It's kind of lurking. That's what this next segment is. It's a lurking. It's lurking. Is someone possibly on upset alert this week? I think That they are. And there's a couple of games I want to look at. First game I want to look at is in the Big 12. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but number 13, Texas Tech. They've got all the NIL money. Joey McGuire's done a hell of a job there in Lubbock, Texas. He's done a great job building this football program through NIL, with NIL, in conjunction with NIL. Done an incredible job. But he's got to go on the road, and it's a tough environment this week as he heads to Little Manhattan. 2:30, Fox, Avery Johnson, Chris Kleiman, getting the ball rolling. They started off slow, had to go overseas to London. They had some jet lag when they came back, but they're getting things figured out. They're getting things rolling as we get into week 10. Keep an eye on that game, as I think Texas Tech is on major upset alert. And then over in the ACC, I've got 2 games this week. First, I mentioned it a minute ago, but first, 6-1 Miami. And they're heading to SMU. A lot of folks may say, Wes, SMU just got beat by Wake Forest. This is Miami's first road environment outside of the state of Florida. It's essentially their first real road game. And you got to go to SMU. Whereas we know Rhett Lashley has got a hell of an offense every year. Now, yes, his name's being thrown around. Could he be going to Arkansas? Possibly Virginia Tech? Possibly Oklahoma State? Is that a lateral move? There's multiple questions surrounding SMU right now. And then can Texas? Right now, Arch Manning, last I saw, was in concussion protocol. We'll see the first drop of availability report. Can't call it an injury report. Availability report coming out soon. But can Texas knock them off? All right, let's head over to the Sport Box stock market. Sport Box Company is a mystery box once a month for your kid and as a parent, and for you as a parent, to make it easier to be a parent in sports. It's real simple. You go to sportboxco.com/4star sports. Sportboxco.com/4star sports. And when you do, find a box, check it out. It gives you a list of what all comes in it. And it's numerous sports: football, baseball, basketball, golf, numerous sports, volleyball. But we appreciate Sport Box Company as they bring us the stock market, where we go up, we look and see what coaches are going up, we look and see what coaches are going down. But is it a moonshot or is it a crypt plunge? We find out. All right. I mean, stock up right now has got to be, everybody says Kurt Signetti, right? My stock up is going to be Charles Huff and the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. It's got to be. You look at Southern Miss right now. This team they got a 49-21 win last week over Louisiana Monroe. 6-2 on the year. Bye week this week. They go to Arkansas State. They come home, take on Texas State. They go down to Mobile and take on South Alabama. Then they host Troy in what I think is going to be a hell of a football game for a potential spot in the Conference USA Championship game. They have the potential to go into the Troy game with 9 wins on the season. So my stock up is definitely going to be Charles Huff. You look around the country, My stock also, another one has to go to Ryan Silverfield. To come back from that loss at UAB, big loss, daunting loss. The loss almost puts you in the casket right there as a football team. But then you come back, you get a big win at home against South Florida, South Florida football team that's really talented with Alex Gold as the head coach. It's another name that you really need to pay attention to is Alex Gold, obviously. Kennesaw State, Jerry Mack. They're going bowling, folks. They're 6-2. Like I said earlier, big win last night at home over a really stingy Scott Waldron-led UTEP minor team. All right, folks. It's time to overreact. All right, so it's the overreaction alert. And this is where you just kind of build an overreaction for upcoming week. We got games everywhere. We got potential upsets. It says on the bottom screen, it's full of frights. My overreaction alert and my Florida 24-21, they stun Georgia and the dynasty dies as Jacksonville explodes. That's my overreaction. And what this overreaction alert segment is, it's something that you think has the potential to happen, but it's really an overreaction. We'll see. Florida 24-21 stuns Georgia, knocking the dynasty down as Jacksonville explodes with a win. And the CBD for Life woosah of the week is where, well, first off, go to cbdforlife.com/4starsports. I, myself, others included, I use CBD. What it is it's the effect of THC without, it's the medicinal side of THC without the lingering effect. But find you a CBD gummy, pop one, exhale, relax a little bit. And I think a couple of fan bases need to relax a little bit. First off, and I don't have funeral music right now, but LSU fans, I understand you just got rid of Brian Kelly, but you also just paid him $27-something million to go away. Well, I talked about it the other night. You look across the country, you look at all these names that are below me right now. The majority of those names equal out to roughly $170 million of dead money, of money that needs rigor broke out. It's dead. It's decomped. It's a waste of money. But then you spend the money to get them out. Then you got to turn around and go to all your boosters and go, hey, look, I know we just came to you and said, hey, man, we need the money to fire this guy's ass. But, hey, now we need money to hire someone else. Eventually, the people with the pocketbooks get tired of shelling out money. Then you see ticket prices go up. Sponsored by SeatGeek. You see ticket prices go up. You see parking go up. You see all these other little ways that the university is going to find ways to bring more money into the fans, and the fans won't think much about it if their team's winning. But relax a little bit. It's going to be okay. You actually have an outside chance to make playoffs still. I know it's daunting. It's a daunting task. But you're not haunted. You're LSU. Your program's up here. Everyone else is below it on the pecking order of jobs right now. You have the pick of the litter. And the rumor is the pick of the litter is only Lane Kiffin. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I don't see where Lane Kiffin leaves. I don't understand where it benefits Lane Kiffin to leave Ole Miss for LSU. You see what just happened to Brian Kelly, 34-14, and he's gone. Interesting stuff. Very intriguing. As we look at the CBD for life, woosah of the week. All right, SeatGeek. Head over to SeatGeek now as they bring to you the ticket of the future, which is just a ticket that we think you should look into, a ticket that we think, or a game that we think you should look into that's potentially ticket worthy of buying. Head over to SeatGeek now. App steals. SeatGeek.com. When you do, create you a login, write your password down. Find any ticket, $50 or more. Once you do, type in promo code 4-Star Sports Media, all capital letters. That will save you $20 off your ticket purchase. And when you look at a game that I think you need to go buy a ticket to, and I think it's a game that a lot of people may potentially buy a ticket to, some of which have never even heard of it. I'm sure you've seen on social media, Ouachita Baptist, Arkadelphia, Arkansas, Henderson State. They're right across the street from each other, 0.08 miles apart. I know, I've been there, part of the rivalry. Battle of the Ravine is coming up next week, in 2 weeks. It's the shortest distance between two rivals in all of college football. It's D2 football at its best. It's D2 football at its finest. It is what college football really is at its core. And it's a potential landing spot for college game days. We saw recently Reese Davis speak out. The big thing now is to ask Reese where they're going. Like Reese is really going to tell you where they're going. But he did mention, hey, I have put in a vote, or I have put word that I would like to go to Arkadelphia, Arkansas, the Battle of the Ravine between Ouachita and Henderson. This year it's at Henderson. But, man, what a moment would that be for college game day. They have not been to any matchup besides a all-power 4 matchup since 2023. 2023, they went to James Madison. That's the last time they've done it. It's the last time they've gone to a non-power 4 location. Could they skip group of 6 altogether and jump straight to Division II for a big time matchup? We'll see. We will see. Hey, folks, appreciate you tuning in tonight. Got to give a shout out to our partners, Athletic Brewing Company, Southwest Airlines, Sportbox Company, Fanatics, CBD for Life, SeatGeek as well. We appreciate them and all they do for us here at 4-Star Sports Media. And we got to appreciate you, the watcher, the listener. Without you guys, we're just talking to ourselves. But appreciate everyone's tuning in tonight. Like I said, we did run a live feed of this spooky Conference Crunch edition as we are celebrating Halloween here at 4-Star Sports Media. Like I said, we're going to be back tomorrow for a Tiger's Den. Expect another costume tomorrow night. Yes, folks, I have more than one. But appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate everyone watching. For all of us here at 4-Star Sports Media, I am Wes Pruitt. And as always, folks, hey, stay spooky, crunch hard, trick or treat, crush the feet. Later, guys.